Hello. Let's see. I am recording. How about that? And I'm continuing with example 3 from the Lessee lecture note. In the prior video, I just did A and B. And what we did was calculate the capitalized amount of the right of use asset. Then in part B, we recorded the capitalization along with the first payment on the lease liability. And in part C, we did ABC. We did the first adjusting journal entry where we recognized interest expense and amortization expense. So now on part D, what we're going to do is show how it's going to be reported on the balance sheet now that we've adjusted everything. So first of all, let's go over to the income statement side because it's definitely less confusing. What am I going to do here? I want to make this full screen. Let's go full screen. All right. Oh, bam. There we go, people. All right. So we have the interest expense, which we calculated up here using the effective interest method over here. And then we calculated the amortization expense over here, and we recorded those. So now we're just putting in our balance sheet. And so they'd be in the expense section. And so just to total those up, 47.55, and play along at home. If you definitely get your lecture note out, maybe pause this if you don't have it, and get your calculator out. Always good to calculate. So not that this 12,574 would be on the income statement by itself. However, the interest expense would be with all the other interest expense, and the amortization expense would be with all the other amortization expense. You don't have to report lease interest expense separate from interest expense or lease amortization expense separate from other amortization expense. However, you could get a question that asks you, what's the total income statement impact or the effect on net income associated with this lease, or what's the total expense associated with this lease? Okay, so you might just need the total. Now, excuse me, the balance sheet's a little bit different because you have to have non-current assets, and we're going to have the current portion of long-term debt and then the long-term debt. Okay, so there's this separation. I'm hesitating because I'm not seeing the current portion, but we'll go with this one because we'll get another example later. Let's go with the liability first. So just to do a little side calculation, we recognized 62,548 and then we day one payment debited. So let's think about this. 62,548, and then we took out 15,000. Excuse me. I have to stop smoking that 5 packs a day. All right, 15,000 minus. So we got 47,548. Okay. Now this is the income statement for 12/31. The payments are on 1/1. So 15,000 of that becomes so amount due in, should say within 12 months. Oh my gosh, you probably totally can't even read that. So I'm gonna, this tablet thing's a little tricky to write with. Not that I have the best handwriting under even perfect circumstances, but payments due within 12 months. So on the very next day, actually, there's another 15,000 due. Why am I not liking the way this is going? Not liking it. So we take 47,548, 15,000 minus. I am not a happy camper because this is 32,548. All right, let's think about this a second. What is going on? Didn't we capitalize So original amount capitalized all payments through 12/31 of fiscal year 1 balance before adjustments. Oh, I see. Look what's going on. Oh, wow. What do we got going on here? What? What? Why did we credit lease liability? When usually, what do? If you have a loan, it's interest expense and interest payable. But all we're doing is making interest payments, and they cover principal and interest. So they're going to throw the interest expense credit to the interest expense offsetting credit is to the lease liability. I get it. I get it. Okay. Okay. So let me see if that'll work. Let's see. So let's get rid of this payment right here. Interest expense accrued. Is that 47.55? So we're going to add it. Oh, so let's see. Year end balance 47,548, 47.55 plus. This is looking more like it. 52,303. Wow. Payments due within 12 months. 15,000. Well, there you have it. It's a miracle. Wow. That's where it comes from. So your current liability is the amount due within the year. Okay. So payments due within 12 months. Okay. So which would include the 47.55. All right. So part of that's going to go to principal, and the other part's going to go to the interest payable, but we are dumping it into lease liability. And the remainder of the balance goes into non-current. So there you have it. So in the future, we're going to pay off the interest accrued plus the remaining principal balance, essentially is what that means. So that is how you come up with your non-current lease liability versus your lease liability. More. Everybody wants more. Let's see what we got. It's more. Annotate. Let me use this little spotlight. Here we go. See? All right. So this lease liability non-current, 37,303. Oop. Here's the current liability is just the payment due within 12 months. So what you have to do is you take your 47,548 balance, add the accrued interest, subtract out the payments due within 12 months to get your this is the non-current liability. So it's the long-term liability. All right. I think that's the most confusing thing of all of it. Okay, so we'll set that aside. And for the right of use, I'll call it ROU for short, right? ROU asset. The capitalized amount was 62,548. Amortization through 12/31 FY1. So we just have 1 year of amortization, which was 78.19. Once again, crank out your calculator. If you find out that I'm wrong, I'll give you 5.62, 5487819 minus, and how about that? It's correct. 54729. 54729. So that one is pretty straightforward. Okay, there's no separation between current and non-current. The reason we separate out the liability into current and non-current is because users of the financial statements want to know how much cash you have to pay in the next 12 months, right? So we look at things like current ratios and quick ratios to see if the company has enough liquidity. So if there's a big $15,000 payment on your lease, you want to have that in classified properly as a current liability. All right, so you get your working capital ratios right as a financial analyst and whatnot. All right, so that is part D of example 3, and I will catch you in the next video if you're moving along. If not, have a fantabulous day or night or whatever it is you're having.